and security of tenure for the Chief Justice and other Superior Court judges. Well, let me take you back to Parliament, where my colleague Samuel Nyimado is on hand to give us the latest there. Hello, Sammy. Good afternoon. Hello, Samuel.
Hello, Abena.
Can you hear me?
Right. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. How is it going at Parliament today?
Hello, Abena. Can you hear me?
Sammy, I can hear you loud and clear.
Right. So, Abena, we are here at the President of the Parliament House, where the second meeting of the first session is just about to start. After that recess that Parliament took on the 29th of March, the House is reconvening for the first time in about 2 to 3 months. And a lot of expectations, a lot is being expected as the House takes the meeting today. We've had some engagement, and I can tell you that both caucuses are ready for today's sitting, especially the minority side. You remember that during this recess, there has been a lot of issues that have been discussed on the media space, that the minority have raised concerns of such issues. And the minority intend to reach same when the House starts immediately. Now, before the minority, before they even enter the chamber, as I'm speaking, most of them are in the chamber now. But before they enter the chamber, they address the press regarding what a report that came this morning, that the government or the Ministry of Energy have retrieved some 2,000 plus missing containers of the electricity company of Ghana. We know that these missing containers became a whole big issue, a controversy that spanned over 2 weeks, and we had passions on it. After that, the minister said that they were conducting an investigation into the issue because they believe that some wrongdoing had gone on there and some persons needed to account for it. After a brief period or a brief break, we didn't hear much about these issues. I remember on our shows, we kept asking the question, what happened to these missing containers? The report we gathered this morning was that government has retrieved these missing containers, and the minority says that the word retrieved is inaccurate in its own meaning, because they believe that the containers were not missing in the first place, and it should have read that they found them and not retrieved. So a lot is happening. We've engaged beside that engagement, we've also spoken to the Deputy Lands Minister, who Suleiman, the MP for Wale Bamboy, who has said that the minority believes that they believe that what the minority is doing is overstepping and overreaching, and the minority are not. They should just be patient, because the minister will inadvertently come and brief the House on what happened and how these 2,000 plus containers have been received. So he quickly tried to rebut the minority's press up, and we went on to have engagement with him on the issue to do with LI 2462, the mining in water in forest reserves, a piece of legislation that the CSOs in the mining sector and CSOs in the environment sector have described as perverse. Now they believe that it should be repealed. The deputy minister says that as this second meeting is about to begin, they will ensure that this LI 2462 is repealed. And I'm happy to be joined by the MP for the former Minister of Information, former Minister of Western Housing, right. Let's just take when you went on this session about 2 months, a lot has been started from issues to do with governance, these questions management of the city, and on the school system for the minority on the economy. Let's give us your impression on these two answers of the big that issue is empowerment and what you make of what happened.
Well, so today in the opening remarks that leadership of our side will be making in a few minutes from now, we will be articulating and in some cases reiterating our positions on today. So I don't think that we have to get same. When we start making decisions, where we intend to go in some of these things, but we can assure the people of Ghana that we come to this second meeting very prepared to do a job as an opposition party and to exercise oversight over the executive branch and to raise the issues that we think are
Yes, I understand what your news your leader is a one rightfully placed big but let's not, if we are not going to it, one issue that the government has raised or cases for is the CP acquisition that we see in recent times. As of this morning, as of the end of this morning, yesterday, the CEO is no longer transporting questions. There's been a lot of tears people are congratulating the government. Your side seems to be a bit pessimistic. You're a bit skeptical.
As I mentioned earlier, our leadership will articulate the position and leader is going to make a opening remarks for outside. I think specific to that matter, you get a number of economists to explain the why. But I think we can all say that many things are happening. Many guys are looking forward to our understanding of how things is, how it will be very consistent. Our team has some views on that. Those views will be converged on the floor as the I think the speakers
but before that, 5 months of the government administration, if you are putting things together, how you rate what you've done so far?
Thousands of people will tell you that many people will tell you about the kind of attacks that happen in their various institutions or some people coming in and reading that. You have seen on the television sets, people purporting to be national security officials raiding people's homes, meaning that they have set warrants, they are there to conduct a search. It's early days. I think jury is still, but already there are a lot of concerns that have been raised in passport. So we'll be asserting that.
I know I might be getting it, but let's talk about it. A lot of people are in this way. We're seeing technical as and also not possibilities. We've seen some come up to say that they are getting some problem to contest one piece of this event for and other things we are hearing. What will you make of what is happening in the NP and what do you think the party needs to be done?
I mean, we are going through a process of reforms. As you would recall, this is a party that just lost an election significantly. We are working on executing some reforms in the party. I think the thank you has been very successful. 16 regions. The last stop is today, actually. 16 regions. Average, I think, about 4 stops per region. So you can multiply 16 by 4 and see the number of stops going. And on one of those stops, there was an exchange between one regional chairman and one of the leading members of the party. And then on the second one of those stops, after the Toha left, there was a report that somebody was stabbed. Initially, there was also some confusion about the reason, etc. But later, it was like, and I had nothing to do with some of the things that were being explained first. I don't think that can be described as it's ending today. After that, we've got a process of constitutional amendments that are going in the party. Then we go for conference. Take some sessions as we reorganize.
Brian, some tickets. What do you make of it?
We are yet to get into a phase where nominations will even be imposed. I mean, I'm sure that other people will also come up.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable. And that is Honorable Dr. the MPs for the former Minister of Information and former Minister of Works and Housing. So, this is what is happening. Like the Honorable Minister, the MP says, Kojo Fonkuma mentioned, the House is just a few minutes away to start, and the Speaker has, I think, the Speaker has taken his seat, and the House will begin in any moment from now. And after the House begins, you will see the minority side rise first to make their opening remarks, which will articulate the issues they want to see addressed or being debated upon the House, which the Minister, the MP, Kojo Fonkuma has mentioned. And among these issues that we have gathered, predominantly, the minority will be talking about the missing ECD containers, which have been retrieved today. They also raising issues to do with the CD appreciation and the CD performance in relation to foreign currencies. They will also be talking about the dollar debt saga and the plethora of issues that the minority believes need further attention. So we wait to see what the minority side will be making. But we also understand that the majority side also have their normal caucus meetings. Both sides have their normal caucus meetings. And what we picked up from the majority side is basically they are here to ensure that government business is conducted and is successful as it should be. We understand some bills will be laid before the House, and bills that were laid that were not passed before the indefinite adjournment would be relooked at. One of the bills that we picked up is the LI 2462 that the Deputy Lands Minister has given assurance that that bill, that law would be repealed to ensure that mining in forest doesn't take place. So it's been quite an engaging morning. We've had some engagement from both sides, and we've picked up what already will be at the center of today's discussion. We understand that the Speaker will start any moment from now, and things would happen now.
Well, Sammy, we'll come back to you and have some more conversation with you. But is it a full House in Parliament today? Sammy, is it a full House in Parliament today?
No, it's not a full House yet. They're not all members of Parliament have.
Okay, that's my colleague Samuel Nyimagbo at Parliament. We'll have some more conversation with him. Like he said, it's not a full House in Parliament. However, we're expecting that a lot will be done today. The Speaker has sat. When proceedings begin in full swing, we will take you to the proceedings so that you too will know what is happening in Parliament today. Parliament has resumed from its recess during the Easter. But before we take you there, let's bring you some more news. Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Nchibo, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, is scheduled to report once again to the Criminal Investigations Department today, Tuesday, May 27, 2025. On Monday, May 26, Chairman Wontumi appeared at the CID headquarters in Accra around midday, accompanied by his legal team, which included former Attorney General Godfred Yeboah Dame. A press release issued by Superintendent Joseph Benefo-Dakwa, head of Public Affairs Unit at the CID, stated that Wontumi was formally cautioned on 3 charges: engaging in mining activities without a valid license, polluting water bodies, unlawfully entering a forest reserve. These are the 3 charges. And according to the release, he cooperated with investigators, gave his statements, and was subsequently granted bail. He is expected to return to the CID at 3 p.m. on Tuesday as investigations continue. The police assured the public that updates on the case would be provided as necessary. Speaking to journalists following his appearance at the CID, Chairman Wontumi denied any involvement in illegal mining, commonly known as galamsey. He maintained that he operates legally and has presented his mining license to the authorities to support his claim.
All right. What has been the reason? What's the reason for?
Yo, Madam Ase, na Mother Ubia Strassi, police for inviting me. I was say, na charger, Omode, Bob me, I say, Namia Galam say, na the producer, a lances a lease at the trail, said, the illegal mining. Na se the Galam say, and see, the lances no, at the trail, ama, me. The Tosubio, almost I can say, the year Juma, I walk forest. And also the catcher will say, and Yemia, the Coco year Juma, I walk forest, Yemo. I hear some more evidence. I'm over to me at the action. Now, everybody may apply lances for home. That's also Forestry Commission, and the Lands Commission, and the Mines Commission. Omo yese omo de honam Forestry Commission for so omo nhwe ho into omo and a year custodian omo ye responsible omo hwe ho enko hoda ti so bi ye adwuma wo ho ne ade a enye medim enye bibia enum ana ewie ye no omo ama the two sureties ana CCA Yamabill, CID.
How much of the bill?
I didn't even understand. I can't say, Yamame bill, two insurances.
How much is that about Cocoa Board? Any company? How much?
No. Cocoa Board. And no credit that some of the Cocoa Board for seconds. Obiano, so no aqua yet. Roda, and you're buying a monster. And your woman now do sika, and the contractor no. When I do sika, the corner of your papa yet road. We are now highways for the Cocoa Board for no. Omo engineers about the value. A year road now yet. Now omo the boa rata, omo the mile, no more the atoso. We have 3BB certificate, no marriage. When the Cocoa Board for contract.
Well, so we'll take you back to Parliament where proceedings have begun. We'll come back with more.
I pledge. I have received a number of messages from His Excellency the President. I want to, with your permission, refer those that came when we were on recess. Because you know by law, the President must give prior notice to Parliament before he or she departs the jurisdiction. And so whilst we were on recess, a number of them came. Due to time constraints, I will not be able to read through all. I will just call on the official reporters to capture all what was submitted to the House in the official reports of the House. I so direct. The recent ones, definitely, I'll have to draw your attention to them. We have one dated 26th May 2026, and it reads, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm overspeeding. 2025, sorry. Absence from Ghana. Patient.
We'll take you back to Parliament, but let's have some conversations. Pa Kwesi Eduafo-Labaido is the Executive Director of Sense Africa. Good afternoon, Pa Kwesi. Thank you for your time, sir.
Good afternoon, my dear. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I hope you're also doing well.
Yeah, you are beaming this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, Parliament has resumed today. What are some of your expectations for the meeting today and the meetings that will follow?
Very well. A very good afternoon to your cherished viewers, and of course, good afternoon to the people of Ghana. Indeed, this session, this is the second meeting, right, for the first sitting, right?
Yes,
that is for the Fourth Republic, and really, we expect a lot of activities or engagement for this session, because you see, during the first meeting, there were quite a number of issues which, to me, I mean, were unresolved, apart from the fact that the various budgetary components that was presented by the finance minister were approved. I mean, the various elements in the budget. But beyond that, this is the time that now the ministers are working. They have been vetted. I think we left it 4, but then almost the government is almost set up now, and so we know that all the various ministers, sector ministers, are working. They are expending their budgets which have been allocated to them, and all the other responsibilities that are expected of them. And so for this very meeting, we expect that Parliament will heighten its oversight responsibility on the various ministers. It is a time that, I mean, we need some kind of updates, briefings from the various ministers to tell Parliament, to tell the people of Ghana what they are up to so far, what policies have been implemented by their various sectors, and what we should expect of them in the next quarter or the subsequent period till the year end. We also know that somewhere around August, we're expecting the finance minister to come to Parliament with a budget review. It is very important because, you know, during the initial budget statement, some of the promises that were given by the then presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, were captured in the budget, talking about the e-levy scrapping, talking about the betting tax and all the other components. But there are still outstanding issues that the people of Ghana want to know whether indeed those promises or some of those promises will be reflective or will reflect in the subsequent budget or engagement that the finance minister will have with Parliament. And so we expect with the people of Ghana, and of course, I believe that Parliament is expected to put the Minister of Finance into question, and of course, expect the minister also to come to Parliament to present the immediate budget so that we can know what is at stake for us. Now, you know, a lot of issues are currently happening, and there are a lot of questions going on. You and I know about the cedi dollar. I mean, the cedi, which is, I mean, appreciating every day, every second now. And there are lots of questions being asked, whether it is fictitious, whether it is really real, that it, I mean, whether it is sustainable. And so we need to see the finance minister coming to Parliament explaining the policy intentions or some of the strategies which were put in place to bring us to where we are now in terms of our forex market, or the foreign exchange market. So I think that there'll be a lot of engagement or discussions, and so we look forward to a very busy Parliament for this very meeting.
Because you've been also vocal about the issues of illegal mining, calling for the revocation of LI 2462. How soon are you expecting that Parliament deals with this piece of legislature?
Yesterday is the answer for me. Really, the issues of environment of environment, the issue of galamsey, and issue of sustainability, it's something that is not just dear to my heart, but it should be of concern to all of us, including, of course, the parliamentarians themselves. This is about livelihood. This is about the existence of human life. I mean, this is about our basic survival. Okay, and so this is not something that we need to defer until when. Okay, every day people are, getting all sort of problems, the kidney diseases and all the health issues that come with, the use of these hazardous chemicals in the mining sector, especially the galamsey. I mean, the galamsey or the small scale mining sector. And so, for us, it is very, very important that Parliament prioritizes this very part of our discourse. Parliament need to really compel the Minister of Environment, Science and Technology to bring a finality to this very brouhaha with regards to the LI. We must stop mining in our forest reserve. And even if the government, even if the minister, even if the policymakers, I mean, those in authority, those in power, feel that we have to extract or we have to mine good resources from the forest reserve. Look, for us as sustainability advocates, our issue is that it must be done sustainably. And so the haphazard mining of gold resources in our forest, that is not what we want. And so even if the minister, if the president, if the government feels that repealing the law, repealing the LI is not going to augur well, especially from the economic side of things, we are saying that we should devise more sustainable approach and ensure that when the forest and when we mine in the forest is its integrity is brought back so that we can have a more resilient, environmentally resilient economy. If not, then there is no praise in what the gold board is doing in terms of how we are able to accumulate gold and ensuring that or contributing to the strengthening of the city. Yes, we are doing well because the gold is coming, because
specified terminal that they operate from. Those don't recall the floating.
Now let's take a pause on these local stories and bring you business news. Economist Dr. Daniel Amatei has expressed concerns over the government's plan to open both the domestic and international capital markets. He emphasized the importance of completing the ongoing IMF negotiations before proceeding, arguing that doing so would better position the country to secure favorable rates on the capital market. Speaking on ABC in the morning, Dr. Enim urged the government to allocate any funds raised through the capital market towards infrastructure development, which he believes is essential for generating sustainable revenue to support the economy if the policy is implemented. His remarks were in response to President Mahama's recent announcement regarding plans to assess both domestic and international capital markets.
The macroeconomic environment and demonstrate to the global investor community as well as the domestic ones that yes, I've taken over the leadership of this economy and able to consolidate, the macroeconomic environment, reduce inflation. The city has appreciated or is doing very well. The cost of capital is low, and when we are able to demonstrate. My view is that when you go to the market, you will get a very good rate. Okay, but now, if you go to the capital market, you're unlikely to get a very good rate. And it is not just about going to the capital market and then get funding, but it's about getting a competitive rate so that at the end of the day, we will be in a position to meet obligations as and when they fall due. On the other hand, I understand the president because he also have only 4-year tenure to be able to execute his plans. And if you look at his plan, he wants to improve infrastructure development, and you cannot do that without liquidity, without funds. I think it is against that background that His Excellency wanted to quickly knock at the capital market so that he will be able to borrow so much for infrastructure development. Okay, by my view, purely from an economic perspective, is that if we are able to relax and
Meanwhile, Dr. Amate Yenim has acknowledged that the president's 8-pillar strategy to restore Ghana's economic stability is a step in the right direction, but expressed skepticism about its implementation. He pointed out that over the years, the country has struggled with consistent policy implementation and sustainability, which has resulted in setbacks and economic losses. Dr. Amate Yenim called for a well-structured and disciplined approach to managing President Mahathir's economic recovery plan and expressed hope that if the strategy is effectively executed, it will yield the intended results.
I must admit, very progressive pillars, progressive on paper, and it has the propensity of transforming the economy if so pursued by his government. I must admit, one that interests me most have to do with making Ghana an investment and trade hub. If you recall, we've started ourselves as a gateway to the continent, to Africa. But as we speak now, Rwanda has taken that leadership, whether we like it. Oh yes, that is it. Even our neighbors, Côte d'Ivoire, they are doing very well. We are losing so much investment to Côte d'Ivoire. People are seeing Côte d'Ivoire as the best destination. Okay, so if His Excellency wanted to revitalize and ensure that we have Ghana as a trade hub, an investment hub, I think that's the way to go. But the point is that I think in terms of policies, we don't have so much issue, but in terms of implementation, that's where the issue is. So he must ensure that those who will be tasked to pursue that agenda does so religiously with all the determination that it desires. I must admit, very progressive pillars, progressive on paper, and it has the propensity of transforming the economy if so pursued by his government. I must admit, one that interests me most have to do with making Ghana an investment and trade hub. If you recall, we've started ourselves as a gateway to the continent, to Africa. But as we speak now, Rwanda has taken that leadership, whether we like it. Oh yes, that is it. Even our neighbors, Côte d'Ivoire, they are doing very well. We are losing so much investment to Côte d'Ivoire. People are seeing Côte d'Ivoire as the best destination. Okay, so if His Excellency wanted to revitalize and ensure that we have Ghana as a trade hub, an investment hub, I think that's the way to go. But the point is that I think in terms of policies, we don't have.
That's all for business. Let's bring you some sports news. And James Ohenba Makion is on hand to serve you.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
Imagine a sport without rules, a game without passion, an arena without chance. What drives the champions? What fuels the rivalry? What separates the winners from the rest in the world of sports?
On the show, we shall start by interrogating your athlete's health matters with expert insight from our renowned medical professionals, providing you with actionable advice and cutting-edge knowledge to prevent injuries and optimize performance. Then we'll connect you to the talking point where we'll bring you the big names, the famous faces, and leading voices on our radar in the world of sports for a lively conversation and diverse perspective.
Eugene Soti, your chief data guy on the talking point. On the African Tracker, I'll break down the performance of your favorite African players abroad, scrutinizing every detail.
This time, more than the 3 venues are used for the event. The venues are Olympic Stadium in Rabat.
moment. We're establishing contact. He spoke with the MP for Bole Bamboy just a few minutes ago before Parliament, before they all entered the chamber. He also spoke with the MP for Ofuanse Ayirebi, and so we will be playing all of those conversations to intermittently so that you will revisit it. Hello, Sammy. Sammy, can you hear me?
Right, yes, I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you too, Sammy.
All right, so I'm not, yes, I hear you talking about what is currently happening in the chamber and the several conversations we've had with some MPs on both sides. As you rightly mentioned, the Deputy Minority Leader, Patricia Appiagyei, is on the floor delivering the opening remarks on behalf of the Minority Caucus. I just want to take you through a few things that he mentioned, and the Minority Caucus are reiterating. First off, the minority started by talking about the removal of the Chief Justice, Isaba Saki Tokuno. We know that a lot has transpired during this recess period of Parliament, and as it stands now, she remains suspended, and the committee has been empaneled by the President as required by the Constitution for the committee to probe into the various petitions and allegations that have been leveled against her. We know that three petitions have been brought forward seeking her removal. The committee chaired by Justice Kwaman is hearing those petitions. So the minority, in their opening remarks, Patricia Appiagyei called on Parliament to step up and defend the integrity and independence of the judiciary. He says that if Parliament sits aloof, as we believe they are currently doing, the whole process they will also be complicit in the whole process that is seeking to remove the CJ. He says that they believe that the government has an agenda, and since they came to power, they have led that agenda to remove the CJ. Among other things, they say that what backers their point is the appointment of 7 justices from the appeals court, and the President has appointed them, trying to elevate them to the superior court, to the Supreme Court, and they believe that this goes to add up to the plots by the government and the NDC to oust the Chief Justice, and they believe that Parliament needs to rise up to the occasion and come to the defense of the judiciary, because they believe that the judiciary share equal power as Parliament and the judiciary. He mentioned that the representatives or the lawyers representing the petitioners in these 3 petitions are lawyers that are also representing the President and the Speaker of Parliament. And it seems as though these two, the Speaker of Parliament and the President, which represent both the executive and the legislature, are conspiring to take down the Chief Justice, a situation that the minority bemoans cannot be allowed to happen. So they are calling, they say that the Parliament needs to rise up. Among other things that she's spoken about is the issue that came forth yesterday with regard to Ghana's High Commission in Washington, D.C. Right. She says that the approach by the minister, which is the Foreign Affairs Minister, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, is false. It has a lot of issues, and they do not have any problem with him wanting to unearth the wrongdoings at the High Commission, but the approach in which and the manner in which he did it is rather impugning on the integrity of the country and the image of the country internationally. And while she was speaking, while the Patricia Appiagyei was on that particular topic, then the Honorable Minister, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, walked into the chamber. Then he was received by loud cheers from the minority side, chanting that he should resign, and all of that. So that's what ensued on that. And she went on to talk about the economy, believing that they said that the country is still not out of the woods yet. The President and the economy is so it's so bad, and they believe that the president hasn't managed the economy well. They say that are taken under the current NDC leadership. They call for prudent economic management. Other things. She spoke about the rate as you just ago. We know at the home of Adenta Kumi to arrest him over allegations of false publication. They also went to the chairman of the NPP in the Ashanti region. Chairman, I believe that that cannot be allowed to happen, that the national security services and the NIB to the certificate must be seen to work within the remit of the law and not just operate anyhow. And they are calling out the government on that. She also mentioned the situation to do with flooding. You know, a few weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, the whole of Accra and some parts of the country was submerged in water just after about 3 hours of rain. The minority says that government must act prudently to avoid this situation going forward. So there's been a lot of remarks that the minority, and this is what they just ended our church, just ended her session, and after that, the majority side will have their time to also their opening remarks. The speaker will take the house will officially go order and the bill proposed to act.
Deputy Speaker's remarks actually captured all that has been so far this week. We spoke to Dr. Hlovo, international relations expert, and he held the same view as the deputy minority leader that there was closed down does not augur well for our reputation on the international stage amongst our peers on the international community. Things could have been done differently and better. Maybe after investigations had been conducted, looking at the fact that the gentleman in question was a local hire, and he's not the only one who has held that view. Others have also expressed the same view. We'll be looking forward to what the majority also says about that and what also Speaker has to say.
We would try to get some engagement with the minority side of the House, especially those on the Foreign Affairs Committee, and the Minister himself is in this chamber. So we'll try with him to understand where this whole decision came from and the time the government decided to close down the commission Washington DC and what went into this whole decision. But be sure that ABC is done. Right. She spoke at length. Well, the weight of the minority. And ways of NPP people that an end now. It must stop. Has led this operation over these few months must be brought and their due processes, even when they are conducting investigations, and don't go into houses of people in the Rambo style that they have characterized the situation so far. The minority outrightly condemned the situation. They call on the defense minister to also address the House on some of these things. So we'll see what the Minister of Defense, whether the Minister of Defense will have to come into the because he is not a member of Parliament, so maybe he might be called to come to the chamber to address the House on these specific operations. But we have the Deputy Minister of Defense who is a member of the House, so perhaps he might also address the House on that situation. But the minority, like I mentioned, outrightly condemn the situation. They say that they cannot allow that to happen, to there seems to be a targeted attempt to subvert or to mute or silence the NPP minority.
Curious is the matter surrounding the suspended CJ Gertrude Saki Tokono. With her matter, I found it curious during the deputy minority leader statement that she says the lawyers are in some way affiliated to both the judicial legislature and the. Let's explain that.
Thing to do, or what she said, seems to deviate from what we have do on media stations, even on our channel, when they are linking the lawyers to NDC. They say a lawyer like the astute lawyer Chatu Tikata is a known member of the NDC, and he has represented the NDC in several cases. So he is a lawyer that the NDC has pinpointed, and they have tried to link these two lawyers to, and even Oliver Baka-Woma, they've linked them to the NDC. However, the deputy minority leader didn't just link them to the NDC. He linked them to the people they represent. She says that Tati Tata and Tadio represent the Speaker of Parliament, and Tati Tata represents the President, John Dramani Mahama. And these two lawyers are the same lawyers representing two of the three petitioners that are petitioning for the removal of the CJ. So they believe that it seems as though there's a ploy between the President, the Speaker, to oust the head arm of government, the leader of the third arm of government.
I say that,
and that's the linkage that the minority is trying to draw here.
Right. I say it is curious because already the conversation is taking a very different turn altogether from when it started. When it started, I mean, we saw some political angles with the conversations that had been had around it, but now we are getting the matter proper. It seems to be taking very entrenched political legs, and for her submission that the two lawyers are linked to two people at two arms of government is quite curious, and it also opens the conversation up to a different or a more intense conversation. Looking at the fact that the CJ has said that her rights are being trampled upon, she says that holding the meeting or the hearing even at the castle is another thing that shows her that this is an intimidation tactics. I think that it's becoming interesting, but in a very bothersome way, if you get what I mean, because so long ago,
I do.
A few minutes ago, the Attorney General.
What we think is that both sides, after the opening remarks, will have some debate on this issue.
All right.
And we are pretty much sure that the minority will continue to trample on it. Even before we enter into the chamber or the whole chamber, the sitting started, we spoke to some minority members who raised concern on these issues, and they mentioned that it is one of the issues that they will trample on the floor of Parliament, because they believe that Parliament cannot be seen to be complicit, and they believe that with the Speaker's lawyer representing a petitioner on seeking the removal of the CJ, it is seemingly conflicting with Parliament, and it seems as though the Speaker is being complicit in the situation. So the House will take time to address that. I get the indication that the majority leader has also taken the time to address the House.
Right, so we'll go there, but since you will be speaking to some of the members after Parliament, we hope that the Attorney General is there, because he has opposed the suspended CJ's bid to halt the removal proceedings, and so we are hoping he is in the House, and we hope that you can catch some conversation with him.
I've not cited, just a notice, we've not cited the Attorney General, but when we do, we will try to have some engagement with him, because like you mentioned, ever since this position started, the suspension, he says that it was legal and the president has not violated any constitutional provision. So we'll try as much to get the views of the Attorney General on this whole situation. And also the majority in general, especially those on the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee.
All right, Sami, thank you. So we'll come back for more conversation. Let's get straight into the chamber and listen to the remarks of the majority leader.
All right, thank you very much.
So yes, let's take you to the chamber. My colleague Samuel is still at Parliament bringing us all of the updates from the House. But at the moment, the majority leader is on the floor. He's speaking. Let's take you to Parliament.
Recovery has become the subject of continental admiration, signaling Ghana's return to its rightful place as a leader among nations. This is more than mere political change. It is a national awakening that promises to carry Ghana to new heights of prosperity and influence. Right, Honorable Speaker, I am proud to say that this renewed hope of the ordinary Ghanaian is the result of the work that we did in the inaugural session of Parliament. And despite an of many newly and added critical bills, the promises made the source election away and we repeal taxes on lottery winnings and the 1.5 tax processing companies from 1 to 3% under the levy sunset to allow full allocation to priority sectors. So Ghana Education Trust Fund got more money for education. National Health Insurance Fund got more money for healthcare delivery. And Road Fund received 100% of their due allocations to better support road projects. I vividly recall the unwavering commitment demonstrated by honorable members of this House, who sacrificed sleep and personal comfort to work tirelessly through the night in this very chamber. Their dedication bore fruits in two critical legislative achievements: the establishment of the Ghana Gold Board, a landmark institution that has brought much needed regulation to our nation's gold industry; the timely passage of the appropriation bill, a crucial piece of legislation that not only authorized government expenditure but also guaranteed a seamless financial transition during the delicate period following the election of a new administration. These examples stand a powerful reminder of Parliament's essential role in safeguarding our nation's economic stability and democratic processes. When duty calls, this House has consistently risen to the occasion, putting national interests above all else. The meteoric vetting and approval of all 56 ministerial and deputy ministerial nominees saw the fastest setting up of government by any democratically elected president inaugurated under the Fourth Republic. Even before new and young MPs could settle in their seats, they started asking questions and raising issues affecting the lives of their constituents. 170 motions were moved and adopted. Newly approved ministers responded to 41 questions. Members and ministers delivered 90 statements on critical national and constituency matters. The House held 82 committee sittings. Because of all the policies, legislation, and quality of leadership installed by this House, in our first sitting, Ghana is being reset again. We have engineered one of the strongest currency rebounds in recent financial history. The numbers speak for themselves. 21% appreciation against the US dollar, 16% against the UK pound, 41% strengthening versus the euro, where $1 traded 14, a few months ago. Today it exchanges at just over 10.94 Ghana cedis. This isn't just statistics. It is translated into real relief for Ghanaian families. The strong showing of our Ghana cedi is resulting in significant reductions in fuel prices, in commodity prices, in food prices, and in the prices of general goods and services. Right, Honorable Speaker, there is a new force and a new myth in the management of our economy and finances. It is called forcenomics. This House must support our indefatigable Finance Minister and former leader of this House, Honorable Kesal Atuba Forsen, to continue along the lines of fiscal prudence and his dogged pursuit of appreciating the Ghana cedi, reducing inflation and prices, reducing interest rates, and revitalizing our private sector, renewing hope in the Ghanaian. While many challenges remain, this sitting will focus on pursuing fiscal prudence, economic consolidation, the private sector revitalization to strengthen Ghana's financial stability and growth. It is in our agenda to receive the mid-year review of our budget. Members recall that this House approved a common fund formula that demanded that 80% of the fund should be sent directly to the assemblies. The Finance Minister will bring an urgent statement on the guidelines to govern the utilization of the funds. He will also make other far-reaching statements on the financial sector. A bill to convert the Ghana Investment Promotion Center to the Ghana Investment Promotion Authority will be presented to the House. A Ghana Deposit Protection Amendment Bill will be laid to enhance the existing legal framework and to meet international standards and to better protect depositors. Greater clarity to our exemptions regime will be seen in an exemptions amendment bill. Several bills and regulations in the financial sector are in the works and will soon find their way to this House. They include a customs amendment bill, an income tax amendment bill, a private-public partnership regulation, fees and charges miscellaneous provisions amendment regulations, revenue administration amendment regulations, and an exemptions regulations. Other requests will be made of this House to pass economic agreements, loan agreements, tax and duty waivers, and the consideration of statutory reports. The Attorney General and Minister for Justice, the new doing of accountability, is busy preparing prosecutions of massive looting of public funds under the SWAL MPP regime. Even as he is busy in this regard, Honorable Dr. Dominic Ayini will bring to this House a new Conduct of Public Officers Bill, a Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Amendment Bill, Economic and Organized Crime Office Bill, Ghana Industrial Property Office Bill, Intestate Succession Bill, Legal Education Reform Bill, Legal Profession Bill, Notaries Public Amendment Bill, Presidential Transition Amendment Bill, State Property and Amendment Bill, and a new Tribunals Bill. The single architecture of Ghana would have received a significant overhaul. Right, Honorable Speaker, the Attorney General will also introduce they include Economic and Organized Crime Office Operations Regulations, Economic and Organized Crime Office Terms and Conditions of Service Regulations, High Court Civil Amendment Regulations, Service Regulations, Legal Aid Commission Regulations, Supreme Court rules, and very significantly, removal from office of Justices of the Supreme Court rules. The President, John Dramani Mahama, is determined to fast-track legislative reforms to strengthen our institutions of governance, and further entrench our democracy. The President is committed to legislative clarity with transparency when it comes to the constitutional mechanics of the removal of justices of the superior courts. The Minister for Education, the Honorable Haruna Idris, a Scholarships Authority Bill, a University for Development Studies Bill, a Ghana Book Development Council Bill, a University of Engineering and Agricultural Science Bonsu Bill, and an amendment to the Colleges of Education Act. Pursuant to the Education Regulatory Bodies Act, the Education Minister will submit for the House a number of legislative instruments related to the National Teaching Council, the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, the National School Authority, and the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection will bring before us a Child Justice Amendment Bill, a bill to amend the existing Domestic Violence Act, an LI for the Social Protection Bill, and an LI for the Affirmative Action Act of 2024. Honorable Emmanuel Amakofubua is expected to present a bill to review the minerals and mining
I agree. The rule of the Kela should deal with only mining in forest reserves. That is just a subset of this whole blabberoo about that I'm saying business. Okay? If you ask me, we have
established a regulatory framework for nuclear energy development in Ghana, and he will submit a Renewable Energy Authority bill to promote renewable energy initiatives in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the efforts to reform the energy distribution sector, Mr. Speaker, the electricity distribution, he will seek parliamentary approvals when necessary to implement the multiple lease model in electricity distribution. He is also proposing legislation to realign the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission's mandate. This ambitious institutional transformation agenda requires robust legislative backing. In addition to these executive bills, spearhead a rigorous pursuit of accountability in Ghana's public financial management. We will demand a full-scale parliamentary investigation into the handling of COVID-19 expenditures to ensure transparency in how emergency funds were utilized. Additionally, this House will revisit the unresolved Ajapa royalties deal and require a detailed update on the 190 million PDS scandal, a case of alleged fraud in power distribution that cost Ghana dearly under the previous administration. Furthermore, we will launch a comprehensive inquiry into the rampant sole sourcing practices of the past government, exposing how recklessness in contracting bled the nation's coffers while Operation Recovery Loot Aura for briefings, but on the 36 cases worth over 20 United States dollars, including amounting to over 700 million United States dollars. If we fail to hold responsible for this present under of public resources accountable, of every Ghanaian demands justice. This House will ensure that the era of financial recklessness is and unwavering consequences. In the course of the last sitting, it emerged that some containers got missing at the Tema port, and further investigations revealed massive cases of reckless procurement at the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG. The Minister of Energy promised this House a thorough investigation. We are waiting to be briefed on how far perpetrators have been held accountable. This Parliament must live up to its mandate as the House of Accountability. Right Honourable Speaker of Ghana appeared before this House Committee of the Whole to provide on the controversial construction of the new bank known as the Bank Square. What began as a $81.8 million project under the previous administration ballooned to an outstanding $250 million. A reckless expenditure at a time when Ghana's dire financial crisis had pushed the nation to an IMF bailout. Shockingly, that $11.1 million was spent on furniture alone, despite the building remaining incomplete and unsafe for occupation. This House will thoroughly investigate this matter during the current sitting to ensure accountability and justice. The hard-working citizens of Ghana who took to the streets in protest against such blatant mismanagement of public funds
substantive issues, just your expectations as the House resumes from that long break. I remember you went on the break on 29th of March. It's been like two months. The House is coming back from the majority side. What are you expecting? What should we see happen within this session?
Well, thank you very much. As we all know, it's a house that conducts government business, and as parliamentarians as we are, and the expectations that our constituents have in us, we are hoping to engage with government businesses and make sure whatever there is that we need to do as members of parliament are done successfully.
What sort of government businesses are we talking about here?
We are just coming.
but within the breaks, key issues popped up. The minority has had a lot of press conferences from, I remember the cocaine smuggling allegations to other issues in the House. You would expect that when they come to the chamber, they raise some of these issues. They even threaten to impeach the president at a point. All of these issues will play out. From your side, how do you expect it to go?
Well, we don't discuss press conferences here. we do serious business here. So whatever that they felt it was the need as a den to discuss, well, that is their business. When the
Privileges Committee for investigation of a consent to breach the privileges of a member, the NDC Majority Caucus repeat our condemnation
the floor. That is when we have something to say about it. But as it stands, we are not even sure they are going to say anything about it on the floor. So let's all hold on and see what's coming.
One issue that happened during the last, before you went on that recess, was the chaos that ensued during the vetting process. A lot of expectations where people had a lot of expectations, especially when the Speaker commissioned that committee to probe into it. We haven't heard much. Even people mentioned your name. I heard some try to implicate you in the whole process. Tell us, were you in any way close to the chaos?
Yes, that very day we expected the Half Region organizer to take a turn into the vetting. So I'm a member of parliament in the region. So obviously I was there to support my regional minister nominee. and those things crop up. And I did not play any chaotic role. I only made sure properties of the states are protected.
So you're rather protecting rather than lifting the items.
No, but do you had an opportunity of seeing the video?
I saw the footage.
Yeah, so like what you saw in there was a protective measure, just to make sure government property is protected. However, the speaker instituted a committee, which we are yet to hear from them. I was called.
Yeah, I remember
Yes.
you appeared before the
Yes,
committee.
yes. So we are waiting to see what the committee will bring to the floor.
But from your side, you take yourself from anything that had to do in terms of chaotic scenes, anything that had to do with it. You are not part of the chaos, rather protecting state property.
No, not whether or not I was part, because I'm aware you were there and you witnessed whatever that happened. I mean, it wasn't our intention for those things to come up, but it happened, So it is something that we have apologized and pleaded on behalf of all the members of parliament who were present at the scene to Ghanaians. So I'm very sure Ghanaians are forgiving us, and we've learned lessons from them, and I believe such incidents will not happen again.
Finally, before I let you go, there's been a lot of
Why are you laughing?
I mean, within this period that you've gone on recess, a lot has happened. Ghanaians seems to be happy, especially we are seeing the CD performing well. We are seeing inflation coming down, and all these indicators pointing to some good things happening within the economy. The minority have said that it's just some artificial that is going on, that the real deal will show up very soon. From your side, how if I may ask, are you excited about the trajectory that the economy is taking it in, and what do you have to say to Ghanaians ahead of to say to Ghanaians about the economy and your management from your side?
Well, Ghanaians are excited because that was what they really voted for, and in our local parlance, we say "Okonfubonisi kromwa otimbi." If the country goes bad, we all enjoy, whether being it good or bad. We are all in it. We all enjoy, and so we thank God through some initiatives and some measures taken by the government. We are seeing what we are seeing today. Ghanaians are happy. Those who are taking trotro, those who are buying fuel, those who are going to the market, everybody is happy. And it is our hope that their expectations are met. In fact, they expect more. Even though things are happening positively, we just came within 5 months, people are happy, and it shouldn't get into our heads. It means we need to continue to work harder. And I believe the government of His Excellency, the President...
Progress for our beloved nation. May God bless our deliberations, and may God bless Ghana. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, we have all listened to our leaders. It's now time to listen to me. Honorable members, it is with a deep sense of honor and responsibility that I heartily, warmly welcome you to the second meeting of the first session of the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic. While the recess afforded us the opportunity to engage the global parliamentary community in statutory conferences of networking, experiential learning, parliamentary relations, and diplomacy, I trust the recess has been restorative and afforded honorable members the time and space to engage with constituents and reflect on the onerous responsibilities ahead of us during this meeting. We are grateful to the Almighty God for His protection over our lives and for keeping us safe during the period of the recess. I must acknowledge that while the House was on recess, almost all committees were actively engaged on monitoring and oversight field visits or capacity building activities. Notably, the Committee on Human Rights visited the Nsawam Medium Security Prison to assess the general condition of the facilities, engage with prison authorities, and interact with the inmates. Similarly, the Committee on Local Government conducted visits to the integrated recycling and compost plants in OT and Volta regions, with the objective of assessing and monitoring the operations of these plants, which are fundamental to addressing the pressing hygiene and sanitation challenges facing this nation. In addition, other committees, including the Committee on Roads and Transport, the Committee on Education, the Committee on Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, as well as the Committee on Security and Intelligence, engage themselves in various capacity building, oversight, and stakeholder activities to advance the work of the House. These efforts are commendable. They are commendable exhibition of honorable members' dedication to duty and exemplify Parliament's unwavering commitment to ensuring that governance and service delivery are held to the highest standards. During the course of this meeting, we look forward to receiving reports on the activities of the various committees for the consideration of the House. I must remind the House, however, that a number of referrals made to committees during the first meeting are yet to be reported on. Given the tall list of business before us in the course of this meeting, it is expected that committee work will intensify. I therefore urge chairpersons and members of committees to pay prompt attention to all referrals to ensure timely submission and swift for the House. Honorable members, we resume today with a full schedule ahead. The term runs till the end of July, or on exceptional circumstances, end of the first week of August. I think this is sufficient notice to all, particularly the executive arm of government. But it is long enough to make meaningful progress if we approach our work with seriousness. I call on leadership of the House to ensure that programming of business is timely, strategic, and consistent. Time is a public resource. We must not waste it. Let me take the opportunity to highlight a few of the items listed in the draft agenda for this meeting. I will not go through all what the leaders have mentioned, but please, we have one at committee, the Ghana Cocoa Board Amendment Bill 2025. 3 private members bill, the Property Rights of Spouses Bill 2025, Constitution of the Republic of Ghana Amendment Bill 2025, and the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 have completed the processes as required by the standing orders and are expected to be presented for the first reading during the course of this meeting. We also expect to lay for consideration of the House the Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Regulations 2025. So far, 17 papers are ready to be presented to the House for consideration. But I must hasten to add that the House is yet to receive the full list of proposed business from the government. Members' business, as you all know, will come as they are ready and admitted by me. We also have 4 reports that are pending before committees. We further expect to tackle the reports of our 2 ad hoc committees. The report on the ad hoc committee established to investigate the violent disorder that characterized the meetings of the Appointments Committee on Thursday, 30th and Friday, 31st January 2025. And the report of the ad hoc committee on the design of a pension scheme for members of Parliament. Honorable members, added to these are the Ada Songo Lagoon salt mining challenges and the unparliamentary comment of a member on the Honorable Dr. Zaneto Ajiman Rawlings. Honorable members, as you recall, I was not the one on the chair. In fact, I was out of the jurisdiction of this country when it happened. The investigations are still not concluded. But to be frank with you, I am very disappointed with all of you that a member seated in this house with all colleagues around and no single colleague can pinpoint to the member who uttered those words. Even those of you sitting together, the 3 of you that have been identified, the zone is on the tray. Get this notice. Majority members, with your numbers watching the minority, you are telling me that none of you can identify the person who spoke. The person, honorable members, please, the person spoke not once, but twice. The minority leader on his feet turned to look in that direction. And none of you can identify the person who spoke. I'm very disappointed. What is even shocking, with all the cameras and the CCTV, none could capture the person who spoke. Honorable members, these are serious matters. And when they are properly brought to me, I take action. Shouts, noise will not compel me to take action. You know what to do. Please, I am voicing out my feelings. I'm really very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. So far as this matter is concerned. Because it can happen to any of you. It's just that many of you don't know your history. That is why you are behaving this way. Please, we must take our business seriously. We must respect each other. We must work together as members of the same family. Please, you are here today. Ask your colleagues who were here and are outside now. They will share their experiences with you. With this, honorable members, the report will come and action will be taken in this matter. From the way I'm speaking, you can be sure that I'll go all the full length to implement the law. Please, honorable members, committee calendars must be honored. Reports must be completed, not shelved. Every committee chair has a duty to ensure that his or her committee meets, deliberates, and delivers on deadlines. These are not optional duties. They are the mandatory constitutional functions you have all sworn to perform. Let me particularly refer to Article 106, subclause 14, which is mandatory on public bills and must be adhered to the letter. It says, a bill introduced in Parliament by or on behalf of the President shall not be delayed for more than 3 months in any committee of Parliament. We have not been following this rule. It's a constitutional order, and we have to comply with it. Honorable members, as a chamber painstakingly built on a rich cultural and historical legacy, Parliament stands as one of the most impregnable pillars of Ghana's democracy. Our resilience, vigilance, and the choices we make within these walls, will either sustain or flourish this time-tested democracy or derail it. The House is where power is legitimately held to hold persons endowed with the trust of our people to account, where policy is examined and scrutinized, where the views, interests, and hopes of our constituents find structured expression. Our routine assemblage of plenary sessions in this House must not be mere formalities. We are here as an equal partner of the executive. And I repeat, we are here as an equal partner of the executive to govern the people in accordance with the Constitution and the sovereign will of the people. Honorable members, as you can all attest to, the times and the context in which we operate are challenging. Nevertheless, the people of Ghana look up to this Parliament for leadership that is ethical, purposeful, and proactive. A leadership that inspires confidence and hope. A leadership that justifies the trust and investment of the people. This Parliament sits in a nation grappling with economic pressures, social tensions, and legitimate worries about whether public institutions, including Parliament, are meeting the expectations of the people. Across the country, citizens are paying close attention to our acts of commission and omission. They are watching our every step, not out of mere curiosity, but because they know that the decisions taken here affect livelihoods, determine the rate of development, and the future of our nation. This meeting, therefore, presents another important opportunity for us to advance key legislative business, engage in constructive deliberations on pressing national issues, and ensure that government implements its programs and policies within the tenets of openness, transparency, accountability, and responsiveness, all to the benefit of the citizenry. We cannot meet the expectations of our people with theatrics aimed at distracting or delays aimed at derailing the business of the House. We can only fulfill the aspirations of the expectant nation with rigor, a clear sense of urgency and purpose. Duty calls, and we must respond promptly. Honorable members, this leads me to some happenings that saddened me greatly during the last meeting. Let me be blunt. Some conduct witnessed in the course of the first meeting of this session fell far below the standard, dignity, and honor of a democratic legislature. I am referring to those moments of violent disorder, disgrace, and dishonor that brought the name of the House into disrepute and discredited members in the eyes of right-thinking Ghanaians who look up to Parliament for exemplary leadership. Such incidents of misconduct and distraction are unbecoming of honorable members and must not be repeated. I repeat, must not be repeated. This is a House which operates on ethics, values, rules, and laws that are neither ornamental nor discretionary. They exist to safeguard order, engender free speech, indecency, and responsibility, and preserve fairness and inclusivity. Our rules were promulgated to ensure that debates, no matter how spirited, remain decorous. When rules are ignored and tempers override reason, we do not merely undermine each other, we degrade and undermine Parliament itself. This chamber must be a model of public service, not a theater for showmanship. Debates must be firm but civil. Differences must be handled with principle and reason, not violence and emotion. The people expect intelligence, not insults. They expect substance, not spectacle. Let me be unambiguous again. No misconduct or crime will go unpunished. Members must conduct themselves with dignity. The business of this House is too important to be derailed by conduct that serves no public purpose. It is worth repeating what I've said before. The honeymoon with the rules is over. The deputy speakers and I will be stricter in the enforcement of the standing orders. We will not allow disorder, absenteeism, or procedural shortcuts to become the norm. Those who wish to be heard must first be present. Those who seek the floor must respect the House. Those who want to catch the eye of the Speaker must be disciplined, decent, and honorable. There is still time for this Parliament to raise its standing and strengthen its legacy. But it will not happen by mere whimsical wish. It will require discipline, presence, preparation, and respect for procedure. These are the pillars of an effective legislature. To our new colleagues, the first timers, let me speak without any equivocation. It is easy to be caught up in the visibility of the chamber, the cameras, the headlines, the drama of plenary. But the real test of your effectiveness lies backstage in your committee work. It is in committee rooms, away from the spotlight, that legislation is sharpened, oversight is enforced, and the real work of Parliament is executed. Committee participation is foundational to all we do here. I encourage you to throw yourself into the work of the House with focus and humility. Learn the rules, join the debates, attend your committee meetings, ask the hard questions, Speak up for your constituents and do not mistake noise for impact. The rare work will not always make the news headlines, but it will always make a difference. I equally urge the veterans who are here to devote themselves to committee work. We cannot afford to have committees that are dormant, nor members who treat committee work as second fiddle to other endeavors. A parliament is only as strong as the strength of its committees. So in spite of the fact that each of you has a seat here, by virtue of your constituents' mandate, you cannot prioritize these demands above committee work or other parliamentary duties. That is why we have recess, where we recede to now focus on that business, not plenary sessions. The same applies to follow through. Too often, referrals which are made to committee are not dealt with expeditiously. This will not be tolerated again. I urge chairmen and members of the committee to ensure that referrals are acted on promptly, that reports are submitted within time, and that recommendations are not left in limbo. This House must not be seen as a talk shop, but more importantly, it should be felt as a dependable and responsive body. Honorable members, I also want to recall the public mood. Ghanaians are watching this House with a mixture of hope and doubt. They want to believe in Parliament. However, they are wary of years of unmet expectations. They expect Parliament to function not as an echo chamber of partisan interests, but as a space where issues are confronted with clarity and courage. If we do not rise to this moment, if we allow pettiness to crowd our principle, we would have failed the expectant public. Ultimately, if Parliament falters, democracy suffers. It is that simple. Honorable members, permit me to address a matter that has weighed heavily in recent months. There has been a noticeable increase in the number of official communications from law enforcement and investigative bodies directed at this House. These requests, many of which relate to the conduct of members, must be treated with the seriousness they deserve. Some of these matters relate to allegations arising before those accused became members of this House. Others, regrettably, concern conduct alleged to have taken place while members are in the House. Either way, they raise questions that touch directly on the standing of this institution and the public perception of our collective integrity. Let me sound this loud and clear. Parliamentary privilege is not immunity from lawful inquiry. It is not a license to disregard the law. The immunities granted to the House and its members are designed to protect the independence of the legislature, not to obstruct justice. These provisions are institutional safeguards. They were never intended as escape routes for honorable members. Where allegations are raised, due processes must take their course. Our position and my position on this is unnegotiable. Parliament will not stand by while members are subjected to unlawful or politically motivated persecution. I've been an opposition leader for 8 years. I know what I'm talking about. But neither will Parliament offer protection to those who seek to misuse its privileges to frustrate legitimate investigations. I will not shelter anybody here in that direction. I remain committed to fully upholding the constitutional and procedural protections afforded to every member of this House. The dignity of Parliament requires that its rules and privileges be respected, but it also requires that we do not mistake privilege for impunity. No member can act as though the confidence of the electorate is a shield against scrutiny. Privilege is not impunity. Immunity is not invincibility. The law binds us all, and the law is the law is the law. Those who said, and the law is the law, did not complete the sentence. The law is the law is the law. That is the sentence. As we commence this meeting, let us, as we've been told by your leaders, rededicate ourselves to the work ahead with patriotism, unity of purpose, and collective resolve to secure the interests of the nation, always bearing in mind our solemn duty to the people of Ghana. To all honorable members, I extend my best wishes for a productive meeting. There's much to be done, and the public expects much from us. Let us give them reason to believe in this House. Let Ghana continue to be the oasis of peace and the model of democracy. Let this House show that it is the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic and the best of all. May the good Lord guide our utterances, our actions, and deeds. May He lead us through a productive second meeting of the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic. I thank you for your keen attention, and may we have a fruitful and impactful meeting. Thank you all. Else, I wait for the First Deputy Speaker to take the chair. We now have on the agenda correction of votes and proceedings. What I have is the correction of votes of Saturday, 29th March 2025. I'm sure you've gone through it. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 6. Yes, honorable member.
Page 7, honorable Right Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
Area 18 of page 7. I was classified as absent, but I was absent with permission. That's area 18. Colonel Kwadudamo, German South.
Colonel, who gave you the permission?
I routed it through our leadership to your office.
And you got a written permission from the Speaker?
I inquired and I was told yes.
You inquired from who?
Through my leadership.
Your leadership might have misled you. Many of you submit your request and assume that it will be granted. Even your leaders may recommend it. but they may later disrecommend. The Speaker is not a robot. He has the discretion. Your leaders could recommend it, but the Speaker could deny you that permission. Please always give enough notice, wait and get the permission in writing before you absent yourself. As I mentioned, we are going to take it serious, and from last meeting, the records will give us the guidance. But I've taken notice of that, and Table Office kindly cross-check and do the proper thing. Page
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
8, page 9, page 10, page 11. Sorry, page 10.
Mr. Speaker, page 10.
Yes.
Just a paragraph attributed to the minority leader. He just didn't thank the parliamentary service, but the parliamentary press corps in the last, sorry, that's 13. Thank you. 13.
That's page 13.
Thank you.
Honorable members, page 11, page 12, page 13. Yes, now.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, that paragraph should read, he thanks staff of the parliamentary service and the press corps. Thank you.
Table Office, kindly take note of that. Page 14.
Mr. Speaker, 14, if
Yes.
you have no objection, line 3. Right Honorable Speaker expressed gratitude to all members for their dedication and commitment during the first meeting of the first session of the 9th Parliament. He highlighted the significant achievements, including the swearing in of the President-elect. Conspicuously lost is the swearing in of MPs and Parliament itself. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Please, Table Office, take note and complete the actions that were taken those days. Yes, please.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. The same page 14, Roman numeral 3, the very first line. The Right Honourable Speaker of. I think there is Parliament missing over there. Thank you very much.
Yes, you have an eagle eye. Thank you so much. Yes, honorable members, page 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Yes, 48.
Speaker, respectfully, item number 3 on page 48. 3I. Respectfully, the appropriate thing to do is to record the name of Dominic Akuritinga Ayini into bracket doctor. We don't have to bring a Mr. and add doctor again. When the person has a doctorate, you don't add a Mr. Then that should also go for 3II. Mr. Justice Remsai. It should be Dr. Justice Remsai or Justice Remsai into bracket doctor. I thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, table office kindly take note, and also take note that these days those with PhD don't write DR. They write the name and end it with PhD. That is the current practice now. Page 49, page 50, page 51, page 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79. Honorable members, in the absence of any further correction, the votes and proceedings of Saturday, 29th March 2025 are hereby adopted as the true record of proceedings. First Deputy Speaker to take the chair.
Yeah.
So how will we hear them?
Also, this is the second sitting for Parliament, and you've seen all that has transpired there. The minority had their opportunity to speak. The Deputy Minority Leader, Patricia Piaget, took the floor and spoke. The Majority Leader himself, Mahama Yargo, also took the floor and spoke, and the Speaker also concluded it all. At the moment, the first Deputy Speaker has taken the seat. The Majority Leader, Mahama Yarga, has announced that government will soon introduce new rules to guide the removal of Superior Court judges. This is coming in the wake of all of the conversation around Article 146 and some of the ambiguity that have been mentioned, contained in the article. Some say that it needs to be looked at, especially as the Constitutional Review Committee is looking at the Constitution. Well, I will not bore you with so much talk. My colleague Samuel Nyimado is still at Parliament to bring us more from what transpired there. Let's take you there. Hello, Sammy. Yes, Sammy.
Right, yes, I'm still there at Parliament House, trying to give our viewers what has transpired. Like you mentioned, both sides, the minority and the majority side, have been in the attempt to be broad opening remarks, as well as the Speaker participated in his opening remarks. In a bit to be dissecting the issues that were raised using their opening remarks. I'll be joined by, we are really a surprise here today. We are bringing a rather, a place that is known for ABC Sports, for sports laws on the ABC. He's joining me here in Parliament to discuss the opening remarks of both forces and the various issues that were mentioned. We anticipated some of these issues were rehashed by both forces, the majority and the minority house. Mentioned what they told that they would be looking at one day before they entered into the chamber. So, Eugene Soti is like
okay, interesting. Hi, Eugene.
Yeah. Eugene,
normally we would have expected that you would be bringing us tomorrow's match fixture, at least for the Unity Cup. Today you are in Parliament not to talk to anybody on the sports committee, but to bring us more on the proceedings. Very interesting. So we're all looking forward to your conversation with Eugene on today.
Yes, like you mentioned, everybody would have expected Eugene to be on sports law on Wednesday at 7 p.m. or bring us the sports news every day, midday, evening, but today Eugene joins me from the Parliament House.
Okay. Well, Sammy, let me leave you to the conversation. Let me allow you and Eugene to flow with the conversation whilst we all enjoy what happened.
Right. So Eugene, our life coverage of this Parliament.
Thank you very much for this one. First of all, I must say that the politics over sport. So we're assuming the system action for today's special cabinet science.
You're right. What we have to speak of, what we can do is outside to focus on we enter into the team and then we also made the shutting off I'm not sure to do something. In terms of the posture of the minority, I'm not saying actually to the 9th Parliament of the first Parliament. They've been constantly people coming to this every single
And almost everything is a press conference launching or the other, even the message. So I'm not particularly surprised by the some minorities in Russia. I'm only surprised that they and so they will take that. So I think we need to see the deputy minority that the address the house. Was looking to see one of the best message for me to be rising on the issues. I found I'm not surprised was important because we come back to that though, because the majority have a lot to be analyzed. But the minority entered into the political housing when and was on the song that was into and shutting down of Washington was making it was almost like a performance. Behind the walk and walk onto the sea and was received by long and cheers from the minority and who could say he wasn't found in the affiliation. Maybe over the last 6 months, the latter part of their government last year, and so it was the ideas and the others received by some, and what was going from his side of the I think it was expected. There was a conversation, and honorable exactly. I think that some of them now, I wish it was in a position so any chance they get to pick him, I think they won't. I think it's increased by the Senate. People have the lessons to be learned. Usually the one things are done with facts. Not everything will be done with I think there's a the deputy ranking on the foreign affairs committee after 20, and he was very consistent on that. They don't disagree with the content to clamp down and corrupt in Washington. The more it is really inflating it now that we are discussing it and the international watchers is what you one thing you mentioned amongst several people that he saw the aspects the expansion from business or 9 is a bill to regulate or the amendment of the remuneration of the Supreme Court. This is something honestly, this is more of a political matter than the legal national, and so I'm not too surprised, because I think and the creatures on the one application. So I think it's the way it's what the reset things, etc. Even though sometimes they don't mind This is a possible consent. I think that not surprised with a couple of examples.
Okay, I'm not going with the answers.
You always find this always asking I'm sure they'll
as look at
See that for the health fund, we are here to pass the formula. So that one can be distinguished. Common fund, get fund, SIF, third quarter payment to Parliament, then Electoral Commission. It's pathetic. The last election which our colleagues won hands down with an emphatic majority.
Absolutely.
He mentioned it. I mean, the majority leader mentioned a lot of bills. But let's move away from the legal argument because we are not lawyers, and now look at the other side. Now Parliament should resolve it. Is the period that issue during the debate. Other issues like the unparliamentary language or words we saw an MP utter out to the MP for politically, the Honorable Admiral Rollins, the daughter of the former president. After these processes or these things happened, people were demanding immediate action from the House, from Parliament. We haven't seen that, unfortunately. Today, we're expecting to see finality on at least some comments, and the speaker, they both sides, both minority, shielded themselves from it. They didn't mention, they didn't comment on it in their opinion, because the speaker who promised that he will act on the recommendations of the committee showed the report prepared to Parliament and said that they will act on the recommendation later. What do you think of it? What I think is very interesting. We have honorable, welcome to this news. This one, I know you are in a bit of a rush. You have come. You have been in the news for a while now since this process. Yes, I remember your information that you brought into the public regarding to the proposed smuggling, which resulted in some NIB operators besieging your house, and you described it as a raid and all of that. All of this has happened. Your house says that you're in the opening remarks, you condemn it, you ask for government and the ministries or the ministers to come and account for it. What are you looking for going forward in this meeting, or in this meeting, the second meeting of
this first
clearly all the bills and inquiries they said were going to lie are not the priority of the nation. The priority of the nation is that the lights must be on. The priority of the nation that they want to see LGBT bill, the non-sexual rights and family values bill, which Speaker very brilliantly indicated his commitment, but the majority leader didn't state anything about that. The priority of this country is to have our citizens living in peace and not in fear. I mean, this thing about NID operating, sending tax, armed men, storming people's houses is in key racism, because if you want to enforce law, you need to enforce law within the remits of the law. So there's nothing more than that. They have to go to people's houses with warrants, and if they have committed any offense, go legally with the warrants and obtained from the court to effect arrest without all the drama and all the storming and raiding they've been conducting. They should rein them in. Ghana needs to move forward. We need our lights. We need our children to be in school. The quality gains that we left within the education system, that's what we want to see consolidated.
Do you feel threatened by all of this that happens? The grading of your house or the decision of your house and all of that? Your side, the minority and even the party says that they feel like the government is targeting and want to silence voices. You feel silence?
I mean, the objective, if the objective is to be intimidating and silencing voices, then the more vocal they are going to make the minority. So the more rates they bring up, the more we are going to expose their ills. If as many times they bring cocaine, they bring money laundering, we are going to expose them. As many times they do wrong things, we are going to expose them. As often as they get into corrupt deals, we are going to expose them. They said in the opposition that they will not hire any private jets. It is sinful, it is unlawful, it is waste of taxpayers' money, and for the president or vice to even be in a private jet. And what have we seen? They came to power and they're flying private jets here and there. Whereas we have never had a position against the president or vice using the private jet. They use it for politics. We warned them against it, but they chose to do dirty politics with it. Kuyotra Blakwa even vowed that he will resign if his president or vice uses a private jet. Today they are using private jets here, left, right, center. So they have to resign. Ghanaians are demanding that if it's a man of principle, he has to do the honorable thing. But what we are saying is that they came to power with deception, and deception cannot be sustained. But we want them to keep focused on the work we have put into their hands. But we have only one Ghana. We don't wish them to fail. We want them to commit to hard work. Enough of the propaganda. They are not in opposition. They are in power. Let them focus on delivering. Let them leave innocent political opponents alone. All these rates won't get any.
I know you are in a hurry. Last one. The speaker says that parliamentary immunity is not invisibility. That if you want to shield yourself with parliamentary immunity.
But who has shielded himself? So that's this. So there's nothing to comment on.
There's nothing to comment. When your house was raided, when your house was deceived by NIB operators, your house says, your corporate said that you have some parliamentary immunity.
You are confusing the issues. Speaker spoke eruditely. He spoke on point. So nobody should take him out of context. The Constitution clearly defines immunities for certain categories of people. Nobody has abused that immunity. Has anybody abused it? Even take the member of parliament aside. You, as a citizen, who is not a member of parliament, it is breach of your rights. If armed tax, unidentified in which, if they storm your house, the way they did my house, the law says that you have the right to shoot them with any weapon that you have. You have the right to shoot them in self-defense. And so it's not a matter of parliamentary immunity. Any ordinary Ghanaian citizen, if any attack covered in hoods enters your house with weapons, without any warrants, no matter wherever they are purporting to be coming from, you have the right to shoot them. So that is how illegal their act is. So journalists should not be supporting that. What they did in my house, they can't do to anybody. If they do to any, even if they do to a visitor who is not Ghanaian, the person has a right to shoot them. So don't condone illegalities. Things have happened. We have asked for proofs. They never even mentioned it in any of the inquiries they want to. They're interested in oral, they're interested in flimsy things.
EDS and COVID spending, they say it's a flimsy.
I mean, what is this a priority? How is this a priority to Ghanaians? They said missing containers. They turn around and then when Ghanaians give them fire, they've gone back to bring wherever the containers are. So we are here. We hold their feet to fire.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable. That is Honorable Intim Fojo. He's had a lot to say, as you've heard him. He's the ranking member on the committee. Says that they will keep on holding the majority and the government to fire, and they keep on holding them to account, and they will not relent. The more raise they get, the more voices they will share, and that is what Honorable Intim Fojo says. That Eugene will join me shortly again to continue to discuss the issues that transpired in Parliament. So it seems, Eugene, what you take is that the minority are not going to relent, isn't it?
I think it's been clear from the onset. From the very first time they were sworn in the next Parliament, from that day it was very clear that they are going to, in football terms, they are going to give the government very close marking.
And then president
and government boot for boot on every single occasion. And I think that as a political measure, it's a measure to sort of keep themselves in the competition, to ensure relevance, to put the government unpopular, to help them in a bid to come back in the next election, which is supposed to be in 2028. So I think as a political measure, I think I understand where they're coming from, understand their situation. And almost every MP we saw surprised with the question of the minorities.
Also, minority, you have to talk.
Yes, it's all about press conferences
and all of that.
And trying to put yourself into relevance such that when your government comes back into power, you will be in a position to
get some appointments here and there.
Because if you look on the current pivotal figures, yes, we're both issues, yes, and help them to get power back.
Right now, let's zoom back to the issue on the chaos. The speaker says that he's going to ensure that this happens and that the recommendation of the committee is implemented. Same for the unsavory comments towards Senator Adjuman Rawlings. For you, how important is it that let me even come. We spoke to what do you call it, Tampuni, Hassan Tampuni, who was at the epicenter of everything. He says that it is regrettable and they hope that it will never happen again going forward. But how important is it that Parliament punishes their own when they go wrong? And we see that Parliament don't shield their own, because the Speaker says he's disappointed in both caucuses. They are trying to shield the MP who mentioned that of Medra, that comment. They are shielding the MP from accountability.
Well, I think that Parliament has a penchant of shielding parliamentarians have a penchant of shielding themselves when they are involved in wrongdoing, especially within the presence of Parliament. I don't think it's the first time. They've been involved in several issues. In fact, in the just after the 2020 elections, when they were being sworn into the 8th Parliament, remember there was a brawl and near fisticuffs. In fact, there was almost a chaos in the here. Several MPs who were on live television caught misbehaving.
The voting, you remember the voting ballot and the running away of the ballot.
Nothing really was done to such people, and it was almost sent a signal that a lot could happen and would be shielded. And from both caucuses, both majority and minority at the time, nothing really was heard from there. Subsequently, in the next Parliament as well, the 9th Parliament as well, we are seeing
similar things.
And once again, there seems to be quiet from both caucuses as well. It's as if the fight was just a show for their bases, and then afterwards they make up and they move on as if nothing really happened.
How important is it that the Speaker acts and gets some punitive measures?
I think it's really important to serve as a beacon to us and to send a message to others that parliamentarians are not above the law. It's intriguing that the makers of the law are the ones who break the law the most. and it's because of the seeming immunity. That's why we sometimes go the way they do. I think when Parliament cracks the whip against its own members, then parliamentarians should not have the moral rights to complain or speak against other issues. Because as it stands now, I don't think any MP has any moral right to speak against any other system wrongdoing the country. Right. Because your own members do that, and they just go scot-free.
All right, thank you very much, Eugene, for joining me for this conversation. So that is my colleague Eugene Sophie from the sports.
Well,
standing in hand of talking to. So Abraham, if you can hear me, this is what is transpiring in Parliament. You see, we just engaged the
Go ahead, Sammy.
On the defense test. The minority are bent on giving the government to go scot-free. They will push the government
all right.
So the last minute, they push that they get for the candidate.
That's my colleague Samuel. Sammy, thank you so much. We enjoyed your conversation with Eugene and also all of the conversations you've brought us. Thank you so much. We'll go back to Parliament and let you also see what is happening there. The majority leader is on the floor. He is speaking. But thank you so much for joining us here for the midday news, which we have translated into a parliamentary conversation today. We'll be back with the 6 p.m. news. You don't want to miss that at all. But continue to enjoy all that we have for you here on ABC News GH. Remember, we are streaming live on Facebook, we're streaming on TikTok, and we're also streaming on YouTube. Also, interact with us under all of our posts. We'll be glad to hear from you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I think that later in the day, there will be an opportunity for us to provide some briefings to members about some matters that he raised concerning the situation of first-time members of this House. And at that appropriate time, we'll provide further and better particulars. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further comment? You want to speak on the business statement again? Yes, you have the floor.
Speaker, I appreciate the sincerity in the response of the leader of the House. However, I tend to wonder if it is appropriate that the House approves of a formula for the distribution of the DACF. And it turns out that the minister says, I'm borrowing the respected leader's answers. This exercise were being carried on. The exercise is done with, and it's important the leader relates to that matter because the audit has
Yes, I think he said he will address it.
Yes,
because the Committee on Independent Constitutional Bodies visited the independent constitutional bodies, including the EC. So this issue was it came up, and he will speak to it.
Right, so.
Any further comment? Yes, Majority Leader.
Like the Right Honourable Speaker has indicated, the issue of the outstanding payments to officers who worked for the EC during the just past election will be addressed. It is part of the budget of 2024. It was approved. The funds were made available, but during the transition, somehow there was a general sweeping of accounts, and that affected them. But the finance minister has given them firm assurance that once everything is sorted out, the funds will be returned to them. Like Right Honourable Speaker has indicated, we visited them as a committee, and they brought it up with us, and we assured them that we'll follow up on it. So rest assured that it's a matter that we'll push for payments to be made to the EC.
Honourable members, the business statement as presented is hereby adopted. Honourable members, we have admitted two statements One is by Honorable Habib Idrisu, Member of Parliament for Tono, First Deputy Minority Whip, on 2025 Hajj and Eid al-Adha Festival. Honorable Member, you have the floor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to make a statement on the 2025 Hajj and the Eid al-Adha Festival. Mr. Speaker, Hajj is not merely a travel activity. It is a profound spiritual obligation for Muslims, immersed in centuries of religious heritage. Our Constitution, 19